Hello, everybody, and welcome back to you, welcome back to me. It's been a while, I know. I just got hit by some major deja vu because I know that I've said this one too many times in this channel, but as you guys can see, we did some major renovations, though let's be honest, I don't really need that as an excuse to not be active. But yeah, I did some architecture, engineering, interior designing, and carpentry for this detective agency, and please just pray that nothing collapses on my head because everything is just being held by super glue at the moment. So as you guys can probably tell from this new backdrop and the new channel name and of course my avatar, I am changing occupations from video game harvest goddess Persephone to a humble detective Cactus, here to put your video game distractions under an investigative lens. And for our first case, we are taking a look at Potion Permit. It's a potion brewing game created by Massive Media, a small team of developers based in Indonesia and published by PQ. The game came into my radar when I watched one of my good friends stream the demo on Twitch during the Steam Summer Games Fest.
Oh look, someone's playing a flute there. Can I play with your flute too?
I was captured by the cozy and charming art and the appeal of concocting potions to treat people within the island. It doesn't have anything to do with wanting to romance a particular Moonberry citizen. No, that's not it at all.
With you, I love the way that you love me today. Let's run up through the fields where there's sunshine.
Come on. No! Okay, it's okay. We're fine. There are other potential candidates that I saw in the demo, and virtually none of them are romanceable. Okay, let's just choose from the actual NPCs. Romance is not everything in these games. They're dessert. We still have the gameplay and the storytelling to bite into. You play as a chemist sent by the Medical Association upon the desperate request of Moonberry Town's mayor, to cure his daughter Rue, who has contracted an illness that left the local witch doctor baffled as to how to treat it. However, the rest of the town is not as relieved by your arrival as the mayor and his wife Marielle are, due to a past incident that tainted the town's relationship with the chemists from the capital. And it is your quest to earn the Moonberry residents' trust while treating those that fall ill one potion at a time. However, Potion Permit felt like an amusement park that attracts you with its glimmering lights, colorful signages, and playful tunes, but after paying full price to enter, you get this.
The Jurassic Park ride, lit.
Always under construction.
The Mummy, lit.
Always under construction.
Transformers, lit.
They're always under construction.
And you can only ride the teacup, the carousel, and the roller coaster. And while these are fun rides, if I ride these over and over and over, I'd get sick of it. And it's unfortunate. I really wanted Potion Permit to be good because I'm rooting for the developers who built a game with so much potential despite being a small team of 11 people. And I'm still hoping for it to get better. Many games release with bugs and issues but improve over time. Cyberpunk 2077. Sorry about that. Allergies. Where were we? Yes, games release with bugs and issues, but improve over time, and I want to give Potion Permit some grace and patience. However, the glaring issue this game has is not the bugs or the mechanics. Don't get me wrong, they still are, but that can be fixed over time. It's that it's been tagged as a full game upon release when the product feels like it's still in early access state, and that's not fair to the consumers. But I'm not gonna lie, I had enjoyable moments in Potion Permit. I like the potion brewing puzzle, which gives players a variety of ways to combine ingredients to make potions, and I usually challenge myself to use one ingredient from each of the elements available. And the game itself challenges the players to be creative by limiting the elements they could use. So sometimes you cannot use water and earth element ingredients, and sometimes you can only use ingredients from the fire element. Also, depending on how upgraded your cauldron is, there is a limit to how many ingredients you can use. So I like this mechanic because it's still cozy, but presents just enough challenge to be stimulating. The swiftness in which I can cycle through weapons mid-combat impressed me because you don't usually see this in cozy crafting or building games. They're more common in first-person shooter or action games like Doom Eternal, Deep Rock Galactic, or Resident Evil Village. And this weapon switching is somewhat encouraged by the game too, because there are enemies with armor that can only be broken by a certain weapon, and when that's broken, a different weapon is more efficient in finishing them off. There's also quite a variety of enemies, each with their own distinctive attacks, which I really appreciate because it keeps the combat from feeling too repetitive. I love my dog. It's so cute with its salt and pepper fur and its goggles, and I named it Bosco after the companion drone that I have when I play solo missions in Deep Rock Galactic.
Rock and stone to the bone.
And just like how I can ask Deep Rock Bosco to mine things for me,
Go fetch.
Potion Permit Bosco would dig up ingredients buried in the dirt and apparently other things that are buried in the dirt. Osman? I think I need to report a crime. Bosco can also find NPCs for you, which is such a lifesaver for this game for me because even though I have 190 hours banked in this game, I don't know why, but I just cannot remember the routine of the villagers, so the dog really helped me out here. Another thing that I adore about this game is how even though the characters only have eyes as their facial feature, except for our Pirate Dan, the cute icons that appear in the bubble and the tons of expressions that they came up with just communicates the character's personalities better than some of the 3D games that I've experienced, where the player's character mostly has a blank expression throughout the game. I also love the conversations between the NPCs when you run past them and the routines that they have, like feeding the ducks in the river, Helene's tarot reading, drinking tea at the park, Runeheart and Rainer playing darts in the tavern and trash-talking each other. Even KIPPS gets a moment too because watching her play with the butterflies is just heart-melting. I also adore the bathhouse animation because it shows the villagers with tiny trinkets that showcase their personalities. It makes the world come alive, if only a little. Yes, this is foreshadowing. The world of Moonberry Island is beautiful. There's no doubt about it, and combined with the smooth and thoughtful animation throughout the game, I was blown away. So huge props to the developers for coming up with and executing this feature as well. These weren't enough, however, for Potion Permit to hold up well as my playthrough went on, and my experience ultimately ended up feeling superficial. While I enjoy the potion brewing puzzle, it can turn stale quickly with the amount of times you do it in-game. Adding a variety, even something as simple as making it possible to fail at brewing potions, will add more fun and engagement. Can you just imagine the cauldron going poof on your character's face, then the smoke disappears and your face is covered in soot and your hair is all tousled? That's some adorable fun. Maybe even allow players to actually fail at treating patients by crafting or using the wrong potion. It doesn't have to be complicated or punishing, but just let me fail once or twice to spice up the experience and actually make me do some research, because in this game, research is tapping mindlessly on the button until you match the icons at the bottom of the screen and voila! You've figured out the potion. And for an integral mechanic in the game, it is quite disappointing. A user in Mass Hive Media's Discord server actually sums this experience up well. They said regarding the patient treatment mechanic that the game takes gameplay out of the player's hands by telling us the exact potion we should use to treat our patient, instead of letting us figure it out, especially when the potions have descriptions telling us what they do anyways. What would make this feel more like research is if players are actually made to identify microorganisms under the microscope, figure out the most efficient ingredients to counter the disease, and then brew the potion. This will make the mechanic more immersive since chemistry is very rooted in intensive research. Speaking of patient treatment, the diagnostic minigames get tedious as the game goes on. It's basic and offers little variety and difficulty the further you get into the game. And I used to think, I won't have a use for the serum, I'm just gonna save the ingredients for potions, only to find myself in front of my cauldron brewing batches of serum because I just dread playing the minigames and the serum allows me to bypass them. I feel this way towards the rest of the minigames such as the part-time jobs. I like the grape grinding the least because you just press the button as fast as you can and that's it. The bottle sorting shouting I like a little bit better because it engages my brain at least, even if I'm not that good at it. You also get no incentive from playing Whack-A-Mole, the only game in the arcade center, aside from moving up the leaderboards where you're up against the NPCs, so it doesn't feel that rewarding to me. I just wish there were prizes at least depending on the score that you get. So overall, the minigames don't add much to the experience in Potion Permit, and I don't go out of my way to do them if I don't have to, which is a sad thing because they may be called minigames, but the effort that goes into building these is anything but small, and it's tragic that it's a forgettable part of the game. These minigames also highlighted the grindy nature of the game instead of toning it down. Of course, it comes with this genre of games where collecting materials is a main feature, so it's important for the game to have other elements that distract from it. And as someone who likes these types of games, I do find collecting materials to upgrade weapons, renovate the potion house and the clinic, and unlocking the locations therapeutic. But I'm drawing the line at the cauldron upgrades because the materials and money you need for each upgrade increases, but you only get one extra slot out of it. And I don't think getting one slot from paying 5,000 gold, 3,750 wood, and 3,000 stones is justified even if it's the last upgrade. It's more proportionate to get multiple slots with each upgrade if it requires more money and materials. Now, Potion Permit is not just about brewing potions, it's about trust. With the Moonberry citizens hating your guts because you're a chemist from the capital and they think you'll just destroy the environment just like your predecessors, you need to prove that you can be trusted. You can track your progress through the thrust indicator. Okay. You can track your progress through the thrust indicator. You track your progress through the trust indicator. I need to get through this, please. You can track your progress through the trust indicator, which gives you either a thumbs up or a thumbs down based on your current position of trust in the community. Or so the tutorial says, because I was awarded a thumbs up right after successfully treating Rue, and she's my first patient. It's quite jarring considering the disdain many of the townspeople still have for me afterwards. It could be because she's the mayor's daughter and she's been sick for a really long time and she was miraculously healed, so everyone is happy with me. But this made the trust point that I get for treating patients meaningless because I already got the thumbs up. What's his purpose now? Sure, it counts in maintaining the thumbs up, but getting it the first time is crucial in establishing its value, and because I got it with minimal effort, I don't really care much about keeping it because the game set the tone that even if I get a thumbs down for neglecting to treat a patient, I can get it back easily. Which is actually the case because I just need to cure one villager to get my thumbs up back. I won't even feel the consequences of events not triggering or the townspeople not talking to me. What could make this better in my opinion is if the trust indicator has a more gradual progression as you get more trust points. Maybe have a trust bar that fills up with each trust point you get for treating patients before you get the first thumbs up. Having to earn it gives it more value and will make the player care more about keeping it. Potion Permit also has quests that aren't part of the main story or the friendship quests and seem like busy work to make players feel like they're doing something because there are no stakes in these quests and doesn't really give you the motivation to do them because they have no effect in the world. Case in point, the floating slime quest where you're tasked to dissolve the slime in the second fishing spot river because it will affect the fish and the environment around it. Sounds like an urgent situation, doesn't it? But apparently the rest of the town doesn't think so because no one acknowledged it. No one talked about the awful smell that the mayor said disappeared when I dissolved the slime. Even the fish in the infected river couldn't care less about it because after I grinded to get the intermediate fishing rod to test my suspicions, I confirmed that the fish just kept swimming through the polluted current. Anyway, I do understand that these quests might be to help players get more moon cloves, which is what you gift residents to improve relationship. But it breaks the immersion where nobody in town seems to care about the events in the mission, even the NPCs that gave me the mission themselves. I also think that instead of getting moon cloves as a reward for completing these quests, it could go into the relationship points with the NPC involved in the quest. Yes, I can give the moonclove that I got to the NPC, but I think that directly improving my relationship with them as a reward will make it feel like they trust me more after doing what they asked, and that gives the mission more significance. And if the devs want more balance when it comes to getting mooncloves, then it's better to add more patients to treat, because with the current build, we only get one patient per day or every other day with the occasional outbreaks. Diving further into relationships, here we go. We're talking romanceables. For a genre of games that allow you to create your ideal world in ones and zeros, I believe that dating or marriage is an integral component. There are recent games that have taken the stance of not adding marriage in their games, and while I find that disappointing because being in domestic bliss with the NPC of your dreams is sort of the norm, I'm okay with the change as long as there's depth to the progression and interaction in the relationship. And to be honest, the family mechanic in the games that I played so far, while they're fun, still needs more depth because things can get stale and a little bit tedious quickly. When it comes to Potion Permit, many players do comment on the short list of romanceables, and while I'm disappointed that I can't romance Yorn, Rainer and Zhao are still good candidates for me. Mateo too, I even romanced him twice, but by the second playthrough I'm like, he's a little too abrasive. But anyways, I don't mind not having too many romanceable options, as long as, like I said earlier, there's depth and progression in the relationship, which was my issue in Potion Permit. Now, I did say was because I am going to give credit where credit is due. The last big update that Mass Hive Media did for Potion Permit made the romance in this game a lot better. Because when I first drafted the script, the glaring issue for this mechanic is how the dialogue didn't change into a romantic one after the NPC and my character started dating. It was the same casual conversation that didn't acknowledge that we became a couple. But that was fixed in the latest build with a more affectionate dialogue, and I really appreciate that. I still do think that the dates are disappointing because you only watch cutscenes of the dates with no contribution from the player. Now, don't get me wrong, like I said earlier, Potion Permit's animations are incredible, but they get old quickly, especially when they're only cycling between two date scenes. Some people did mention in Mass Hive Media server that there are 3 cutscenes, but I've only seen 2 for Mateo, Zhao, and Rainer so far. Being able to choose and participate in the dating activity will make it more satisfying. Yes, it can get repetitive too, but at least you feel like you're bonding with the NPC. Maybe it's because dating is the final stage of relationship in Potion Permit and the activity doesn't really have any incentive. That's why the players only get cutscenes. And if so, it's really quite a shame because again, this is an activity that I've lost the motivation to engage with. It would have been better if they added a date mechanic where the players actually participate in it before officially becoming a couple. And then, yeah, they can keep the dating cutscenes as official couples because by now, it's going to be looked at as a fond memory of the entire journey of their relationship. I mean, I can't even keep the lover statue that Rainer gave me. It's not in my inventory, it's not anywhere, and I wanted to display it in my house or at least keep it as a souvenir. Potion Permit also doesn't have the fundamentals that many games in this genre have. Of course, going off the beaten path is encouraged in art, but sometimes building on the fundamentals has merit. In this case, Potion Permit doesn't have a calendar and weather system. You'll see the days change from Monday to Sunday, but no dates because there are no seasons or months to transition into. But I do think that Potion Permit did make their own brand of seasons through the different locations you unlock throughout the game. The town is spring, Meadow Range is summer/autumn, Glaze Iceberg is winter, and the Barren Wasteland is, well, barren. This works great for location variety. You know where you are at first glance and the type of enemy and therefore the loot you can get. However, without seasons, weather, and dates, the game feels like Groundhog Day. Even though the days change in the UI, it just feels like words changing while the day just resets, not actually moving forward. With the lack of seasons also came the absence of festivals, which is also a staple in these types of games and could have added some variety and character to the town, because while the town and its people are beautiful, the players can't really do much in it. I can eat, I can go fishing or play whack-a-mole, do part-time jobs, but of course those 2 things I didn't really participate in much, and I can sit down on a lot of chairs. That's the activity that the game is pushing onto you the most. Of course I'm kidding, but with the amount of sit prompts that I get, it highlighted the fact that there's not much to interact with in the world. It would have been great if I was able to interact with some of the items in the NPC's homes and learn more about their backgrounds, hobbies, and likes through it. The music in this game is relaxing and well done, but it's a shame that there are no dedicated melodies for Yorn and Rainer playing their musical instruments. I was so excited to hear Yorn play the banjo because he's so passionate about it, but I heard crickets. Well, not really crickets, but the game's OST, but still, it effectively took me out of the immersion. The character customization in this game is staggeringly limited. I shrugged my shoulders when initially designing my character, thinking that I'll have more options once I get in the game. However, Silky Stitch Taylor's idea of fashion that its owner spoke so highly of is giving the players more color options for clothing and hair. You can't buy the clothes on display, no additional hairstyles, yeah, very scant customization choices, which is disappointing, but only made worse by Nova insulting my fashion sense every time I meet her at the start of the game. And to be clear, I don't have anything against Nova because I understand she doesn't trust me, and like the other villagers, she warms up to me down the line. It's just that if she's written to mock my fashion sense, the least that could have been done is for her shop to offer actual clothing options, not just hair and clothing color change. Potion Permit also has other issues like the quest markers being inconsistent, the permitted ingredients in the list of potions not matching what's in the potion brewing puzzle itself, and the release of a DLC for purchase alongside the game's release is also something that doesn't sit right with me, and I know that no one's forced to buy it. It's more the ethics of releasing it when the game still has serious issues that need addressing. I do want to emphasize that I understand many of my suggestions are reliant on the budget and resources that Mass Hive Media has, and the product does feel like there's a lot that they wanted to execute but ran out of resources or budget to do so. And if that's the deciding factor for Mass Hive Media to still go ahead with releasing the game, and again, this is a big if, I'm not saying that this is what happened, okay? They shouldn't have released it as a full game because it's dishonest to the consumers. At least by tagging the game as early access, you're giving the consumers a choice to invest in a game that you're still passionately working on, and if they do decide to buy it, they know what they're getting into, and people wouldn't be so upset about the bugs and issues that they encounter. Sure, some people are wary about committing to an early access game, that includes me and a lot of my friends, but I believe being honest goes a long way in gaining the community's trust, because right now, some of the players are saying they cannot recommend this to their friends despite having some level of fun in it and its gorgeous aesthetics because the experience is just not up to par with what a fully finished game promises. And I feel the same. I cannot recommend Potion Permit in its current state, but I am still looking out for improvements, which there already are. They're working tirelessly to fix the bugs and issues, and they have released a roadmap for updates that they plan to release this year, which includes hotly requested new romanceable characters. They'll also be adding additional languages, there will be a new mechanic and some system changes to improve the quality of life, new quests and arcade minigames will also be added, and a new opening cinematic. And that's great news, really. But this roadmap and the recent major changes done for the game also highlight once again that this game shouldn't have been released as a full game, but as early access instead. And that's it for Potion Permit. We're filing it away as an ongoing event. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I hope that it's helpful if you're thinking whether or not to buy the game. This is not to sway you in any direction, I'm just sharing my experience, and even if I don't recommend the game, if cozy and simplistic gameplay is something that you enjoy, that's great. Or maybe you want to support the devs in fully realizing their vision for Potion Permit, even through the points that I made, it's ultimately up to you. I hope that you have a lovely day or night. It has been great being back. I appreciate you for being here, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. Bye!